Hi again, everybody. It's Kevin Canessa coming to you from the newsroom of The Observer and TheObserver.com on this, the 29th day of November in the year 2021. Sure hope you're enjoying your Monday, no matter where it is you are in the country. And I certainly hope that each and every one of you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I know for me it was great to be able to get away for a couple of days, spent it in Sussex County, and had a chance to visit with my mom and stepdad, Mike, who I haven't seen in their place in, God, almost 2 years, I guess, with the pandemic and being afraid to be in the same room with them, not wanting to give them COVID if I had, God forbid, ever had it. So it was just nice to be away. Encountered a bear on Friday afternoon on their property. Things that you just don't see too much, although you did see a bear last year in Kearney. But again, hope you all had a great Thanksgiving as much as I did, and we're back in the grind. And this week's front page is on the screen, and it says Christmas on Forest. The Forest Avenue, some of the folks on Forest Avenue, Eddie and Yoli, yes, are unbelievable. They do this every year. It's an extravagant display, as you can see. I'm blowing it up here so you can see it a little clearer on your screen. Eddie and Yoli's house is the big one in the big picture, and their neighbors, the Torontos, Bobby and his dad, put together this incredible display and have it on all night long at sundown. So if you want to see it, it's at 228 Forest Avenue in Lyndhurst, and they do just a phenomenal job, and we love to feature them. It's the third year in a row that we featured them on the front page of this newspaper, and if it's something you want to do, you can just drive over there after the sun goes down. It's a great display, and they spend a lot of time and energy putting it together, and they plan it all throughout the year, and they start early. And it's a year-round process. It's amazing what they do. Eddie and Yoli own Eddie and Yoli's Tires in Lyndhurst, and Toronto. Bobby Toronto owns Toronto Brothers, I think, Home Improvements as well. So they're business people, and they like giving back to the community and for people to come by and see this great holiday display. So check it out when you get a chance. As we move on to the inside of this week's edition of The Observer, in this local area, it always seems that at Thanksgiving time, everybody bands together to help those in need. And this year we feature the work that was done by Unit 305 of the Boy Scouts, St. Stephen's Church in Kearney, the work of the Harrison Fest Committee led by Anselmo Milan, also the Women's Club of Belleville, and, of course, the town of Harrison, and the Harrison East Newark Elks under the direction of Councilman Larry Bennett, who was also the exalted ruler of the Harrison East Newark Elks. It's a tremendous, tremendous effort, all separately done, but when you pull it all together, you see how special this community really is when push comes to shove and it comes time for the holidays. And because of the generosity of so many people in our readership area, people who normally wouldn't have had a wonderful Thanksgiving, instead did. Next page, on page number 4, we have the story of how Belleville named a street after a former Newark police officer who was killed in the line of duty and who grew up in town. It's a horrible story about, of course, how he died, but it was a wonderful tribute to a great young man. So I hope you'll check that out as well. We have a guest commentary this week from Freeholder Chairman Steve Tonelli in Bergen County, who lives, of course, in North Arlington, is a former North Arlington councilman, and he looks forward to his next 4 years. And we also have a letter from Coach Bill Golka, the boys' soccer coach at Kearney High School, thanking the community for their support during the course of the last couple of weeks during this incredible run that the soccer team went on, and it really was an incredible run. When you consider all they did accomplish. So we say it again, even though he's thanking everybody. Congratulations, Bill, and to Scott Miller, his assistant coach, and to all the boys on the boys' soccer team at Kearney High School for a job well done. We have a police blotter this week again from the North Arlington Police Department, and a couple of incidents. 3 cars were stolen, and in all 3 incidents, or instances, the cars had the keys inside of them. And there was another issue. This is something that's been going on across the country. 3 catalytic converters were stolen off of 3 cars in the last week. This is becoming a big problem because of the precious metals that are inside these converters, and they're brazen the way people are taking them. So look out for that. If you smell something crazy in your car, smell like rotten eggs, maybe something to it. Now, Joanne Barton has a story this week about a rockabilly Christmas show she went to see in Manhattan. Jim Haig has his usual sports, as he does every single week. And let's just say, I just want to make sure I have everything. Oh, Reads Across America. The Belleville Historical Society will be conducting Reads Across America again. And Mike Perrone sent us something over. We're on the Newark Police Department. Unfortunately, this on the wrong end. A Newark police officer who was traveling on the Garden State Parkway is alleged to have killed somebody who was walking on the shoulder of the roadway. He took off from the scene, went back, collected the body, went home, and then went back to the scene with the body, according to Ted Stevens II, the acting Essex County prosecutor. It's a horrendous story. He's been charged, as has his friend and one other person who was supposedly there. Just an awful, awful story. I really kind of wish it weren't true, but it seems like it is. And lastly, a very sad story out of Lyndhurst. The parking enforcement officer, her name is Betty Silwoski. She was 84 years old, and unfortunately she died last week. She was on duty and working the day she died, so she worked up to the very end, and she was very, very well admired and loved by Vinnie Ortieri, by the police department, by Mayor Bobby Giangiarusso. Everybody who knew her seemed to love her, so a very, very unfortunate loss for the Lyndhurst Police Department. And we have a little bit of a recap about Betty's life and the work that she did for the township of Lyndhurst. A terrible, untimely death. And anytime there's a death, it's bad. But when it's right around the holidays, it's even worse. You know that. 2 pages of classifieds, as there are every single week in this week's edition of The Observer, so you'll check that out, especially if you're looking for an apartment or a job or something to be done in your home. Whatever it is, we'll have it for you, more than likely, in the classifieds this week. We certainly want to send out a happy Hanukkah to all of our Jewish friends, watchers, viewers, readers, advertisers. Hope you have a wonderful Hanukkah and a great season of light. And it's early this year. It's very early. I don't, in my lifetime, remember Hanukkah ever beginning in November. There was a story, and I wish I had read it, as to why Hanukkah is so early this year. But to all of our Jewish friends, the very, very best during this Hanukkah season. That's going to do it for this edition of The Observer Live. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us tonight. If anything breaks during the course of the week, we'll join you. If not, we'll see you back here 1 week from tonight from the newsroom of The Observer and TheObserver.com. It's Kevin Canassa signing off for now. We will see you back here again very, very soon. Good night, everybody.